If you're lactose intolerant or you're just trying to lose weight and you're looking for the perfect yogurt recipe to follow, then this one is definitely for you. This low fat Greek yogurt is definitely the recipe to try. And in this video, I will be showing you step by step ways on how you can achieve it. Let's go. Hi guys, so welcome back to my channel. In this video I'll be showing you how to make low fat, low calorie Greek yogurt. Now the first thing you're going to be needing is distilled water. I get asked these questions a lot in my other yogurt videos. What type of water do you use? Tap water or boiled water? But I just use distilled water because it's purer and has no impurities. Then I'm also going to be using skimmed milk powder rather than the full fat cream milk. The whole point of skim milk powder is because it has 0.1% fat and it's way healthier than the full cream milk. So this is what we're going to be using. And of course, you know, the best brand I love to use is Dano. Why? Because Dano do not have artificial flavorings or taste, and it will give you exactly plain over yogurt. Here we also have this starter that I already pre-made. If you're also looking for how to make your own starter, check out my other yogurt video. I have a starter video and also have the one of the store-bought starter and how to make starter from scratch. All those videos are in my on my channel, so please be sure to check that out. This is just some skimmed milk starter that I already pre-made, and this is what I'll be using for this recipe. Don't mind the pack, it is not a Mitch and K yogurt. Okay, look at how thick this is. Now always be sure that the starter you're using is as thick as the yogurt you wish to achieve, because that is the only way you're going to get exactly what you want. So first things first, we're going to start by measuring out our water. And as you guys know, 50 grams of milk to 1 cup of water is the measurement you're going to need for any quantity of yogurt you're going to make. That is like the smallest quantity you can make, which is 1 cup. But for this recipe, I'll be using 3 kilograms of water, and that took me about 4 bottle water. That's the small bottle water of this, and I would be adding to that 800 grams of milk. Now I did my calculation to get this, and you can either split this recipe in half or you can use the whole thing. It all depends on the quantity of yogurt that you're going to make. Now I'm going to show you how many packs of yogurt this one made me, but this is just the measurement ratio I will be using. Now it's just like 1 part milk and 3 parts water, but you can measure however you feel more comfortable doing. After measuring this out, I'm going to mix this together. Then I'm also going to transfer this to a pot. As you guys know, I love to boil my milk rather than pouring hot water in it. And I don't know, this just gives me a richer quality yogurt than the hot water method. So you can choose to do the hot water method, but this is the way I prefer to do it. Okay, now I transfer this to my stove top, and I'm just going to gently stir this until it gets hot, like until it passes the finger test. And if you do not know what the finger test is, that's simply dipping your finger in the milk for about 5 seconds, and if you can withstand the heat, then you know it's ready to go. So guys, if you're doing commercial yogurt, please get a thermometer and do not use your finger test for this, because I don't know, it's not hygienic. And I'm only doing the finger test because this is my personal consumption yogurt, or rather this yogurt is for my personal consumption. So I transferred the wicks to a spatula because I'm using a non-stick pot, and the one thing you do not want to do to your non-stick pot is scratching the bottom. I stirred it for a couple of minutes, for a very long minute actually, and then it's perfect now. So we take it off the heat, and then I will strain this just to make sure that there are no lumps or bubbles or any impurities in this before I proceed to make the yogurt. Okay, so while this is going, do not forget to also check the full fat cream yogurt. That video is up already. Also the culture video is up already, and the Yoghurt video, how to properly use Yoghurt to make your yogurt, I also have a video up. So do not ask me in the comment sections, go to my channel and check it out. After straining this yogurt, I cover it and let it cool down a little bit. The reason I cover it is just because I do not want a clot to form over the top, because like we said, this is already a low fat yogurt and it's not worth destroying every single ounce of fat there will be if I let the cloth form on top. Now to my starter, I added a few cups of milk to it, and I'm just thinning this out so that it can blend out when we pour it into the yogurt. If you're familiar with my previous yogurt videos, you should already know what this process is all about because I explained further in those videos. So be sure to go and check it out. Now I thin this out a little bit more, mixing it to make sure it's smooth. Always make sure it's smooth, because if there are lumps, that is how lumpy your yogurt will be at the end. Okay, remember, whatever you start now is the result you're going to achieve at the end. After thinning that out a little bit, then you pour that into the rest of your milk. Give that a little bit of mixing and then proceed to store it, right? I just gave this a good stir afterwards, and then we're going to store it. Remember that I let the milk cool down, and you want it to cool down to just lukewarm before you proceed with this step, because if you do it when it's still hot, it's going to kill all the necessary bacteria it needs to form your yogurt. That is why you will not get the case of, oh, your yogurt didn't form, or it was still liquid, or something like that. After you're done mixing the starter into the yogurt and covering it up, use a warm cloth to cover it. I use a thick towel just so that it retains that warmth, because the warmth is the whole point of the fermentation process. I proceeded to tie this in a nylon bag also, not just one, but I used two. And if you're in Nigeria, you will definitely know what bako bag is. But if you're not, then you can also use a sack bag, or if your microwave has a yogurt fermentation setting, you can just wrap it in a cloth and put it in your microwave with the fermentation setting on. Now I wrap this up properly in a bag, and this time around I am going to be using a cooler to store my yogurt. The reason being, in my previous yogurt video I got a lot of questions asking, what if you do not have an oven? You can store this in your oven with the lights on, it still does the job, but I am just doing this to show to people that without an oven you can still achieve to make yogurt, right? So I store this in my cooler for 14 hours actually. Because this is a low fat yogurt, you do not expect it to come out the same exact way a full fat cream one would. And that is why I stored it for longer than the full fat cream one, and that's 14 hours. Now, after 14 hours, we're done with the fermentation process, and I just checked for the temperature and I realized it is still exactly as warm as when I first packed it. That is already my first sign to know that my yogurt is going to come out properly. Is it just me, or do you feel that whenever you're unpacking your yogurt it's like a taste test, like you're frightened because you do not know what the result is going to be? It's like a surprise to you, because if this is when you're going to know whether you did the right thing or the wrong thing. Now you can already see how jiggly it is. That is to show you that it cuddled up nicely. And now I'm just going to open it for you guys to see exactly how the texture is of this yogurt. Although I was expecting something thicker, I am still satisfied with what I got here, and I believe that by the time we strain it, it's going to get a whole lot thicker than what I'm seeing. If this was a full fat cream yogurt, it would have had thicker cuddles than this. So I'm guessing this is because it's not a full cream, is a 0.1% fat yogurt, and that's why it doesn't have enough fat to create enough cuddles. Now, pardon how messy this whole process was. I do not know why I was so clumsy on this day, but somehow I just had to get this video done. Okay, so pardon the clumsiness. I proceeded to tie up this yogurt after pouring it in a strainer, and if you've watched my other yogurt videos you should know this step already, because it's exactly the same process. The only difference is just the low fat Greek yogurt, and that in this video I'm explaining a lot of things from the questions I got on my former videos. Now you want to tie this up in a cheesecloth or this pap cloth. I don't know which one you would see better. Either you use a cheesecloth or you use a what do they call it? What do they call it? A pap cloth. This is the one to sieve pap. So I don't know how to explain it to you if you do not stay in Nigeria. But after you're done with this, you want to transfer this to the fridge so that it stops the fermentation process and proceed to just soak out all the way. I left this in my fridge for about 2 hours, and I do not think that that was enough time because this was just the amount of whey I got. If it was a full fat cream yogurt, it would have been way more whey than this. But I don't know, this is my first time making this low fat yogurt, so I guess this is the result of it being low fat. So after sieving that out, I proceeded to pour it into another clean bowl. Remember, do not mix the whey and the yogurt together, and do not use a cheesecloth that the whey is going to soak. Like, you need something to elevate it from the bowl you are going to be sieving it in, just so that it keeps the whey water from the yogurt. If not, it is not going to strain. Now, this is another step I had to do because of all the questions I got in my previous video, which is just, can you use your whisk to achieve it? In my previous video, I blended this up in a blender just to save time, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's you need to do it with a blender. As you can see, I used a whisk to achieve this smoothness, and after whisking it first before I added in my sugar. This is a low fat yogurt, so I'm trying to keep it as healthy as I can, and I use just half a cup of sugar for this particular batch. But for this quantity, if it's full cream fat, I usually go for one whole cup of sugar just to sweeten it up. You can actually leave this plain if you don't have a problem with it, but I'm a little bit sweet tooth, so I love my yogurt sweetened, so that is why I made this. Remember that if you're going to be making another batch of yogurt, scoop out the ones you're going to use before you add your sugar. Do not use the one you added sugar to as a culture, because it will not work. Now guys, take a good look at how thick and luscious this yogurt is. If you want to make this a drinking yogurt, all you need to do is pour it up in a bottle. But I'm going to be putting it in plates, and I would keep it in my fridge because it's still going to thicken up by the time it cools down and settles and sets, right? So that is why I am using plates, because it will get thicker. Remember that if you want this as a low fat drinking yogurt, then what you need to do is do not strain it at all, because the only difference between Greek yogurt and plain yogurt is the straining process. If you do not strain this, then you have a low fat drinking yogurt. You can pour in your bottle, sweeten and sell, package it however you want to do it. Now, this gave me a total of 8 cups, 8 cups, two big ones and four small ones. And I think those big ones are about 300 or 500 ml, but this is all I got from it. Let me know what else you like to see me try, and also subscribe and share this video to your loved ones. Don't forget guys, help my channel grow. I recently just got monetized and I'm so excited, and I have so many much recipes in store for you, so be sure to also check that out. I forgot to video the process afterwards because I shared the yogurt to everybody in my house, so I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.